Prepare yourself for a tale unlike any other. A journey filled with raw defiance, unrelenting rebellion, and the story of one of the most iconic and rebellious figures in country music history. This is David Allan Coe, a man whose music hit harder than a wild Saturday night, and whose life embodied the spirit of rock and roll. Coe's career isn't just about the songs he sang, but the fight he put up every single day, standing firm against the odds and doing it his own way. He carved a legacy that shattered conventions, challenged expectations, and left an undeniable mark on the world of music. His voice, his spirit, his life, they all screamed the very essence of an outlaw, an artist who refused to conform to anything or anyone. From prison to the stage, from the streets to the spotlight, this is the untold story of David Allan Coe. A legend whose music continues to echo through time, unapologetically and undeniably. David Allan Coe's journey began in Akron, Ohio, on September 6, 1939. From the very start, life was never easy. Raised in a small town, Coe's childhood was shaped by hardship and a series of tough circumstances. Early on, he found comfort in music, with the legendary Johnny Ace serving as a significant influence on his life. Ace's soulful sound struck a chord with the young boy, inspiring him to dream bigger than the world around him. But before Coe could chase his musical dreams, his life took a darker turn. At just 9 years old, he was sent to a reform school, an event that set the stage for years of struggles. That early loss of freedom pushed Coe into a cycle of rebellion and defiance that would follow him for much of his youth. His teenage years were spent bouncing in and out of trouble, with a long stretch of time spent incarcerated at the Ohio Penitentiary. Behind bars, he faced the harsh reality of prison life. But even in the darkness of his surroundings, something sparked within him, a fire for music, a way out, a way to express the anger and frustration he felt. It was during this time that Coe discovered the raw, unfiltered power of music, and it was through this discovery that he found his escape. Screaming Jay Hawkins, a man known for his haunting and dramatic performances, became one of Coe's most influential inspirations. Hawkins's style, filled with mystery and dark emotion, spoke to Coe in a way no one else had before. Hawkins wasn't just a performer. He was an artist who controlled the stage with his presence, a quality that Coe admired and aspired to in his own life. Hawkins taught him that music could be more than just notes and chords. It could be an outlet for personal expression, an act of rebellion in itself. With this newfound motivation, Coe set his sights on mastering the guitar, teaching himself to play in the most raw, unrefined way. He wasn't able to afford lessons or formal training, so he learned by ear, absorbing everything he could from the limited resources available to him. It was a rough start, but it became the foundation for the unique sound that would later define his career. Coe wasn't just learning to play music. He was learning how to translate his life experiences, his pain, his anger, his defiance, into something people could feel. His early guitar skills were his rebellion, his way of pushing back against a world that had tried to break him down. It was the one thing that kept him going through the darkest times. This period of hardship, of being confined and lost, shaped the artist that Coe would later become. The prison walls may have confined his body, but his mind and spirit were free, exploring new musical worlds. In the years that followed, David Allan Coe would take the lessons from his troubled youth and transform them into songs that spoke to the hearts of millions. Music, for Coe, was not just a form of escape. It became a lifeline, a way to reclaim his power and rewrite his story, one note at a time. In 1967, David Allan Coe took a leap of faith and headed south to Nashville, the heart of country music. He arrived with little more than a guitar and a dream, ready to take on the city that promised the kind of fame and recognition he'd always longed for. But reality was harsh. Coe's first years in Nashville weren't glamorous. Instead of performing in packed venues, he spent his nights on street corners, playing for whatever change he could earn. His makeshift home was a hearse parked right outside the legendary Ryman Auditorium, the spiritual home of country music. It was a gritty existence, but it was also one of raw authenticity, a perfect reflection of Coe's character. The hearse became his sanctuary, the place where he could rest his weary head after performing on the unforgiving streets, dreaming of the day when his music would finally be heard. Despite the tough living conditions, Coe never lost sight of his goal. He poured every ounce of his soul into songwriting, using his struggles as fuel for his creativity. It was during these years that he honed his craft, transforming his pain, frustration, and anger into powerful lyrics and melodies. While the money was scarce, music became his refuge, the one thing that kept him moving forward, even when it felt like the world was against him. Coe wrote feverishly, believing that the right song could change everything. He had no illusions about the music industry. He wasn't looking for fame at all costs. He was simply trying to tell his truth through his music. His break came when Shelby Singleton, the head of Plantation Records, took notice of him. Singleton was known for having a keen ear for raw talent, and when he saw Coe performing, he immediately recognized the unique quality in his voice and the authenticity in his sound. Without hesitation, Singleton signed Coe to the label, marking the beginning of his professional career. For the first time, Coe had the opportunity to record his music, and what followed was the first step toward transforming his life. But even with a record deal, the road to success wasn't smooth. Coe continued to face financial struggles and a lack of recognition, but the label gave him a platform, and that was all he needed to keep pushing forward. His music began to draw attention, not just for its rawness, but for its unapologetic honesty. Still, Coe's journey wasn't just about music. It was also about his identity. He was part of something much larger than the country music scene, the Outlaws Motorcycle Club. The club wasn't just a place for rebellion. It was a community that embraced him for who he was, rough edges and all. The camaraderie within the club reinforced his spirit of defiance, and it became another layer to his identity as an artist. David Allan Coe's time in Nashville wasn't easy, but it was formative. It was the time when he found his voice as a songwriter and performer. The struggle to make ends meet only fueled his determination to succeed. Through the early years of uncertainty, Coe's resilience shone through, and with the discovery by Shelby Singleton, he was finally on his way. The hearse may have been his home, but it was also a symbol of his unwillingness to be defined by anything other than his music. And in Nashville, he would soon prove just how far that music could take him. In the early 1970s, David Allan Coe's songwriting began to gain traction in the country music world. Between 1970 and 1971, he crafted songs that not only showcased his raw talent, but also earned him recognition from major artists. His ability to write heartfelt, authentic tunes caught the attention of stars like Billie Joe Spears and Tanya Tucker, whose performances of Coe's compositions brought his music into the public eye. For Coe, writing for other artists wasn't just a way to earn a living. It was his chance to prove his worth in a competitive industry. With every song he penned, he pushed the boundaries of what country music could be, infusing his own experiences and emotions into lyrics that resonated with listeners. As his reputation grew, Coe secured a significant deal with the Drakes, a Nashville-based publishing company. This exclusive agreement was a crucial step in his career, allowing him to focus more on writing while gaining exposure and credibility in the country music scene. The Drakes saw Coe's potential and recognized his unique voice, which was rooted in the kind of honesty and authenticity that country music had long been known for. His relationship with the Drakes was a defining moment in Coe's journey, offering him the platform to not only write for himself, but to influence the direction of country music through his compositions for others. But it wasn't until 1975 that David Allan Coe's career took a major leap forward with the release of You Never Even Called Me By My Name. Coe co-wrote the song with Steve Goodman, and what followed was nothing short of magic. The song quickly became a country music classic, hitting the top 10 and marking Coe's first major chart success. The song's combination of humor and heartfelt lyrics resonated deeply with audiences, catapulting Coe into the national spotlight. For many, You Never Even Called Me By My Name became the quintessential country song, blending wit with an emotional core that encapsulated the heart and soul of the genre. Coe's connection to the song ran deeper than just its success on the charts. For him, it represented what country music was all about. He believed that every true country song needed to capture the essential themes of life: loss, love, hardship, and redemption. His ideal country song had to feature key elements like mothers, prisons, railroads, and, of course, drinking. These themes spoke to the working-class roots of country music, and Coe made sure to infuse them into his songwriting. When Goodman jokingly added a verse to You Never Even Called Me By My Name that referenced all these classic country themes, Coe was ecstatic. He felt that this verse completed the song and made it the perfect representation of what a country song should be. The success of You Never Even Called Me By My Name wasn't just a career milestone. It was a declaration of who David Allan Coe was as an artist. It solidified his place in country music and set the stage for the rebellious, honest, and often humorous approach that would define his career. Through his songwriting, Coe had found his voice, not just as a performer, but as a creator of music that would resonate for generations. The song's success was the turning point in his journey, and it opened the doors to a future where Coe would continue to challenge conventions and push the boundaries of what country music could be. His belief in authenticity and his refusal to conform became the cornerstone of his musical legacy. In 1975, David Allan Coe found himself at the center of a musical revolution, one that would redefine the landscape of country music. The outlaw country movement, which rejected the slick, commercial Nashville sound, was gaining momentum, and Coe was at the forefront of it. Alongside other pioneers like Townes Van Zandt, Guy Clark, and Willie Nelson, Coe became a key figure in a movement that valued authenticity over polished perfection. The outlaw country artists were unapologetic in their approach, embracing a raw, gritty sound that spoke to the heart of the working class. Coe's music fit perfectly into this mold, and the movement provided him with the platform to showcase his unfiltered style. His involvement in the 1975 documentary Heart-Worn Highways solidified his position within this groundbreaking movement. The film, which focused on the outlaw artists of the time, not only captured Coe's raw performance, but also highlighted his deep connection to the music. As he shared the screen with other legends of the movement, including Van Zandt and Clark, Coe's reputation as an innovative, rebellious artist grew. The documentary helped elevate his profile and introduced his fearless approach to a wider audience. In a time when country music was becoming more mainstream, Coe and his peers refused to compromise their authenticity, making them the true voice of country music for a new generation. During this period, Coe's collaboration with country legend Johnny Cash, further cemented his place in the annals of outlaw country. The two musicians worked closely together, co-writing songs and supporting each other's work. Coe's contribution to Cash's music helped solidify his reputation as not just a performer, but a prolific songwriter with a unique voice. The partnership between Coe and Cash was a natural fit. Both men embodied the rebellious spirit of the outlaw movement. Coe's collaboration with Cash also marked a pivotal moment in his career, as it allowed him to explore his creativity in new ways, while also gaining credibility from one of the most respected names in country music. In 1975, Coe also introduced the world to his iconic stage persona, the mysterious rhinestone cowboy. This larger-than-life character became a defining aspect of his performances, combining elements of showmanship and rebellion. The rhinestone-studded outfits and the Lone Ranger mask were not just costumes, they were symbols of Coe's defiance against the traditional norms of country music. He was creating something entirely new, a persona that was as much about spectacle as it was about the music itself. The rhinestone cowboy look was inspired by his admiration for fellow musicians like Mel Tillis, who had an entire wardrobe of flashy rhinestone clothes. Coe decided to take this idea further, incorporating it into his performances and stage presence, making the rhinestone cowboy an unforgettable symbol of his brand. The Lone Ranger mask, another trademark of Coe's stage persona, added an air of mystery and intrigue to his performances. It was a nod to his desire for anonymity and his refusal to be boxed into any one identity. Coe embraced the idea of wearing a mask as a way of both hiding and revealing himself. The mask allowed him to create a separation between his true self and the persona he projected on stage, while still offering a sense of connection to his audience. It was a powerful statement. Coe was more than just a country singer. He was a symbol of defiance and individuality. The outlaw country movement was a defining moment in Coe's career, and his contributions to it continue to influence the genre today. His unique blend of songwriting, rebellious attitude, and unforgettable stage persona helped shape the future of country music, proving that authenticity and creativity would always have a place in the genre. David Allan Coe didn't just follow the movement. He became one of its leading voices, and his legacy as an outlaw artist remains firmly cemented in the history of country music. In 1976, David Allan Coe released Long-Haired Redneck, an album that would push the boundaries of mainstream country music and solidify his reputation as an artist who refused to conform. The title track, Long-Haired Redneck, became an anthem for the rebellious spirit of the outlaw movement. It was a bold declaration of independence, a song that rejected the polished, commercialized country music of the time. Coe's defiant attitude shone through in the lyrics as he described the life of a man who lived on the fringes of society, challenging the status quo of a genre that was increasingly becoming more about image than substance. His portrayal of a long-haired redneck symbolized the outsider's perspective, the working-class man who was proud of his roots. Even if society deemed him unconventional, Coe wasn't just writing music, he was creating a movement, making a statement about who he was and what he stood for. His refusal to fit into the tidy boxes of mainstream country made him a hero to those who felt overlooked by the establishment. Long-Haired Redneck was more than just a song. It was a moment in time, a snapshot of Coe's journey from being an underdog to rising into the spotlight. But his ascension wasn't without resistance. While the outlaw movement was gaining traction among fans and other musicians, many in the traditional country elite still saw Coe as a joke. His rough edges, unconventional style, and his fearlessness in tackling controversial subjects made him a target for ridicule. To the mainstream country establishment, Coe was an anomaly, too raw, too real, and too rebellious. But that only made him more determined to prove them wrong. Despite the skepticism from the industry, Coe continued to push boundaries in his music. His lyrics began to delve into deeper and more complex themes, exploring love, sorrow, and redemption in ways that had never been seen in country music before. Coe wasn't content with writing simple love songs or tragic ballads. Instead, he wove stories that were gritty and real, reflecting the emotional struggles and triumphs of life. His willingness to tackle difficult, raw subjects connected him with his audience in a way that few artists could. His music resonated with those who had lived through hardship, and his songs became anthems for the working class, the outcasts, and the dreamers. Coe's rebellious nature wasn't limited to his music. It extended to every aspect of his career. He refused to be shaped or molded by anyone in the industry. He knew that in order to succeed, he had to stay true to himself, even if it meant going against the grain. And in doing so, he created a space for other artists to follow in his footsteps. Artists who were tired of the polished, formulaic country sound and were looking for something real, something that spoke to their experiences. His breakthrough wasn't just about fame or commercial success. It was about authenticity. David Allan Coe's refusal to compromise his artistic vision in the face of mainstream pressure made him a trailblazer in country music. His music became a platform for the voiceless, for those who didn't fit into the neat, packaged image of the country music star. He didn't need the approval of the industry to succeed. He just needed to stay true to who he was. And in doing so, he reshaped the landscape of country music, leaving behind a legacy that would inspire future generations of artists to follow their own path, regardless of what others thought. Coe's music was his rebellion, and his rebellion became his legacy. As the 1980s dawned, country music began to shift. The rise of urban cowboy music brought with it a more polished, mainstream sound, which threatened to overshadow the raw authenticity that had defined the outlaw movement. As artists like Johnny Lee and Mickey Gilley took center stage with their slick, commercialized tunes, the rough-edged outlaw sound seemed to be fading into the background. But David Allan Coe refused to let the industry dictate his path. While the urban cowboy era dominated the airwaves, Coe remained steadfast in his commitment to the outlaw spirit. He didn't conform to the trends. Instead, he doubled down on his authenticity, continuing to make music that was as unrefined and real as ever. In 1982, Coe released Dak, an album that marked a significant moment in his career. The album was a powerful statement of loyalty to his fans, to his roots, and to his rebellious nature. In the liner notes, Coe thanked his devoted followers for standing by him through thick and thin, acknowledging that his success was not just a result of his talent, but also the unwavering support of the people who believed in him. The Dak album was about more than just music. It was a message. Coe understood that his audience wasn't just there for the songs. They were there because they identified with his defiance, his refusal to be molded into something he wasn't. With Dak, Coe cemented his reputation as an artist who would never compromise his vision, no matter the shifting tides of the industry. The 1983 album Castles in the Sand took things a step further, marking a watershed moment in Coe's career. The album was both a critical and commercial success, proving that his unapologetic style could still thrive in a changing musical landscape. The standout track, The Ride, became an instant hit, capturing the hearts of listeners with its hauntingly beautiful melody and its story of a man's encounter with the ghost of Hank Williams. The Ride was more than just a song, it was a journey, a reflection on the fleeting nature of fame, and a tribute to the country music legends who paved the way. The song resonated deeply with fans, connecting them to Coe's music on an emotional level. It was a perfect blend of storytelling, spirituality, and music that transcended genres. Castles in the Sand was also a commercial triumph, reaching an 8th-place peak on the country album charts, and it became Coe's highest-charting album since his 1975 release, Once Upon a Rhyme. The success of the album wasn't just a result of the catchy tunes or the star power behind the music. It was the authenticity that Coe brought to every note. His dedication to staying true to himself, even as the industry pushed toward a more polished sound, resonated with his audience. They knew that when they listened to Coe's music, they were hearing something real, something that couldn't be manufactured or replicated. Throughout the 1980s, David Allan Coe proved that his voice and his rebellious nature were not just a passing trend. As the outlaw movement began to fade into history, Coe stood firm, continuing to make music that reflected his uncompromising spirit. While others may have shifted to meet the demands of a changing industry, Coe remained a constant force in country music, a reminder that true artistry lies in the courage to stay true to oneself. The 1980s may have been a time of change, but for David Allan Coe, it was just another chapter in a career built on authenticity, defiance, and a love for the music that had always been his escape. Throughout his career, David Allan Coe wasn't just an artist, he was a provocateur. His music was always unapologetically real, and as such, it often attracted criticism and controversy. Some of Coe's songs, like If That Ain't Country, I'll Kiss Your Ass and expletive Anita Bryant, were designed to push boundaries and challenge social norms. If That Ain't Country, in particular, became infamous for its bold, in-your-face lyrics, which were not just a commentary on Coe's love for traditional country music, but also a statement on his refusal to conform to the more polished commercial sound that was overtaking the genre. The song's brash attitude quickly attracted both fans and detractors, with some embracing its rawness, while others dismissed it as offensive and out of touch. The song's title alone, If That Ain't Country, I'll Kiss Your Ass, was enough to stir the pot, cementing Coe's reputation as a man who wasn't afraid to speak his mind, no matter the consequences. Similarly, expletive Anita Bryant stirred controversy due to its outspoken condemnation of Anita Bryant, a vocal opponent of LGBT rights in the 1970s. The song wasn't just about taking a political stance, it was a reflection of Coe's unfiltered approach to creativity. For Coe, music was a space where no topic was off-limits, and he wasn't afraid to tackle issues head-on. However, these songs weren't just about sparking controversy for the sake of it. They were his way of expressing anger, frustration, and his defiance against the status quo. Coe always believed that artists should be free to explore and express any idea, no matter how polarizing it might be. And while some critics called him reckless or offensive, Coe defended his creative freedom, maintaining that his work was a form of personal expression, not a reflection of hatred or bigotry. However, as Coe's career progressed, he found himself facing a growing backlash, with some critics accusing him of perpetuating harmful stereotypes. His defense was clear. He didn't write his songs to incite hate, but to challenge societal norms, even if it meant ruffling feathers along the way. For Coe, art was never about playing it safe. It was about using his platform to speak his truth, no matter how uncomfortable that truth might be for some listeners. The tension surrounding Coe's controversial music also led to a series of underground albums that further pushed the boundaries of country music. His 1978 release Nothing Sacred was one such project, and it made waves by blending comedy, satire, and social commentary in a way that was ahead of its time. The album became known for its audacious lyrics and unconventional style, and it caught the attention of both fans and industry figures alike. However, the album also brought about conflict with other artists, including Jimmy Buffett, who accused Coe of plagiarism over a song on the record. The feud between the two was highly publicized, with Coe firing back with scathing lyrics aimed at Buffett, further cementing his reputation as an artist who wasn't afraid to go toe-to-toe with the industry's elite. Despite the ongoing controversies surrounding his music, Coe's creative output never slowed down. But behind the scenes, things weren't as smooth. In the early 1980s, Coe found himself facing financial troubles. The Internal Revenue Service came knocking, accusing him of owing back taxes. The ensuing legal battle led to a bankruptcy filing in 1983, which left Coe financially strained. However, even in the face of mounting debt and legal troubles, Coe refused to back down. His love for music never wavered, and he continued to create, perform, and tour. Coe's resilience during this time became another testament to his commitment to his art. Even when the world seemed to be working against him, he maintained his sense of independence, continuing to make music on his own terms. The bankruptcy didn't stop Coe from writing and recording more music. It simply marked another challenge that he faced head-on. His relentless pursuit of creative expression, despite personal and financial setbacks, became part of his mythos. David Allan Coe was not just an outlaw in music, he was an outlaw in life, never willing to let society or the music industry dictate his path. He knew that his art was worth fighting for, even if it meant facing criticism, financial ruin, and legal battles. Through it all, Coe remained one of the most uncompromising and unapologetic voices in country music, a true testament to the power of creative freedom and personal integrity. As the years went on, David Allan Coe's music continued to evolve, and he was never content to sit idly by while trends passed him. He was a man driven by the need to push boundaries and challenge the conventions of the genre that had made him a legend. One of his most groundbreaking collaborations came in the late 1990s when he joined forces with Dimebag Darrell, the iconic guitarist from Pantera. This collaboration wasn't just unexpected, it was revolutionary. Coe, known for his deep ties to traditional country music, and Dimebag Darrell, a pioneer of heavy metal, formed an unlikely yet powerful partnership that resulted in a fusion of country and heavy metal unlike anything the music world had seen before. Their collaboration, which came to fruition in the album Rebel Meets Rebel, was a true experiment in sound, blending the raw energy of country music with the aggressive power of metal. The result was an album that defied categorization, a marriage of two seemingly incompatible genres that somehow worked in harmony. For Coe, this was just another way to challenge the limits of his creative expression. He wasn't afraid to mix the sounds that shaped him, embracing the freedom to experiment and create something entirely new. This collaboration showcased his versatility as an artist, demonstrating that his rebellious spirit transcended genres and that his musical curiosity knew no bounds. But it wasn't just metal that Coe embraced. Another collaboration that proved his lasting relevance was his work with Kid Rock, who, like Coe, was no stranger to blending genres and breaking the rules of what music could be. Kid Rock and Coe came together on Kid Rock's self-titled album, with Coe contributing to the song Single Father. This track, written by Coe himself, combined elements of country, rock, and hip-hop, further cementing Coe's status as an artist who was constantly evolving and embracing the future of music, all while remaining firmly rooted in his own unique style. This collaboration with Kid Rock symbolized Coe's ongoing adaptability and relevance, ensuring that his influence continued to resonate with new generations of music fans. Despite the shifting tides of the music industry, David Allan Coe's influence in country music has remained steadfast. His refusal to conform to the mainstream sound and his relentless commitment to authenticity have earned him a place in the annals of country music history as one of the true outlaws of the genre. Coe's music spoke to the marginalized, the misfits, and the dreamers, those who, like him, never quite fit the mold of what was expected. His ability to blend humor, rebellion, and soul into his songs set him apart, ensuring that his legacy as a country music innovator would endure. One of the most poignant moments in Coe's later career came when he participated in the recording of God's Gonna Cut You Down, a project by the legendary Johnny Cash. The song, a stark and haunting piece, became a powerful testament to the influence of both Cash and Coe in shaping country music. Coe's participation in this project not only solidified his place in the country music pantheons, but also connected him to one of the greatest figures in the genre's history. It was a moment that encapsulated the respect and admiration Coe had earned throughout his career, as well as his enduring relevance in the world of country music. David Allan Coe's legacy is one that transcends generations. His willingness to experiment with sound, to collaborate with artists from different worlds, and to remain unapologetically true to his roots have ensured that his place in country music history is secure. From his rebellious beginnings to his innovative collaborations, Coe has continued to inspire artists across genres, proving that creativity has no limits and that true artistry lies in the courage to break the mold. Through his work, Coe has shown that music isn't just about entertainment. It's about truth, authenticity, and the freedom to express the unfiltered voice of the artist. David Allan Coe's impact on country music is undeniable. Throughout his career, he carved out a space for himself in the genre by staying true to his roots and challenging every expectation placed upon him. His music, which often blended humor with raw emotion, spoke to the hearts of those who felt like outsiders, who didn't fit the mainstream mold of the traditional country artist. He wasn't just an entertainer, he was a voice for the voiceless, a symbol of rebellion for the working class, and a testament to the power of individuality. Coe's journey wasn't an easy one, but it was one of defiance and authenticity. He didn't just write songs, he lived them. His lyrics were shaped by his own tumultuous experiences, his time in prison, his struggles with fame, and his relentless pursuit of artistic freedom. This honesty, this willingness to expose his soul through his music, is what set him apart. He didn't conform to the industry's pressures or trends, and in doing so, he became one of the most influential figures in country music history.